We're talking about love and money this morning. Faye Shepard is joining us with Wells Fargo Advisors to talk about why couples should talk about money before taking the plunge. Good morning, Faye.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
This is one of those conversations that just makes you cringe. It's so hard to have that conversation.
It's very, very hard, and the reason it's hard is that it's the one topic people want. Emotion, and people have very different attitudes.
Yeah.
But it isn't called a marriage contract for nothing. It is a contract, and people have to decide what the rules are.
So when do you think you get engaged, everything's happy and exciting, when do you think you should have that conversation? Before you get engaged or right after you get engaged?
I think right after you get engaged and things get a little bit serious, you need to really sit down and say to yourself, we should talk about how we view money and what leverage is and who's going to have control. And one of the first things you want to really do is sit down and talk about a budget. Talk about the inflows of money and talk about the outflows of money and what's going to be left over. And people have very different attitudes. Some people think that you should make your money and you should spend your money and then you should save. And the other partner might say you make your money, you save your money, and then you spend. So if you don't do that beforehand, you're going to be bickering during the marriage for a long time.
And they should get specific? I mean, sit down actual dollars amount, or just say we're going to put money here, put money there?
They should actually put down specific dollar amounts.
Okay.
Because different things mean different things to different people. Not everybody views it the same.
And debt, if somebody has, I mean, people don't even like to talk about if you have debt.
Debt, dangerous word, dangerous word. You know, my husband and I have been married for 4 years, and we have very different attitudes. We came into the marriage, and I came from a viewpoint that said, oh God, no debt. I pay cash for everything.
Right.
My husband believes in leverage. It's okay to have debt. Now, we're both right, and we're both wrong. Because I say to people, if you need a brand new pair of shoes, or you want to take vacation, you need to pay cash. You need to save for it. Don't become leveraged. But if you want to have a mortgage and you want to buy a house, it's a long-term need, and so then it's really appropriate. It's okay to have debt. But to really sit down and crunch the numbers before you decide how much you're going to borrow.
Well, and people get really angry. I mean, I guess people don't really think about it, but the way that you look at money is really ingrained, probably from the way your parents handle things or not. And if you, like you said, if you're somebody who wants to pay cash for everything, even a car or whatever, and somebody else says, you know, we can't afford that. I mean, that's really...
It's a problem because it's typically money that leads to divorce. It's that particular discussion. Because it also says who's in charge, who has power, who brings in more money into the marriage, who says I have control.
I wanted to go back to one thing you said earlier about some people say money coming in, save first, then spend. Other people say spend first, then save. Is there one that you recommend? Save first?
I like to see save first so you know where you're going. Because you also have to have a financial goal. Where do you want to be in the future? What are you saving for? Are you saving for a $10,000 trip to Europe? Or are you saving to put down a 25% down payment on a $500,000 home? So you need different amounts. What can you afford? And if you just spend, well, then you'll just spend.
Yeah, you can always spend.
Right, right. So there's no control.
And that kind of leads into, you think that estate planning, even for young couples, is something you should do right up front.
It's crucial. What happens a lot with very young couples is they get married, and probably mom is the beneficiary of their IRA. And the first cousin is probably the beneficiary of the stock option plan, and the ex-girlfriend,
if they have that
if they have that these days, and probably their ex-girlfriend is in charge of their 401k, and no one looks. And the funny thing is, it's just as important with the second marriage. A lot of times people don't take a look. Someone dies, second wife goes to collect. That's not who's collecting.
Interesting.
So you need to review all of that.
And with the second marriage also, if there's children, you need to make sure they're in there as well, and everything's...
Yeah, you do. There's a couple ways to do that. What we generally see is that there's a trust that's set up that says the second wife can collect the principal and the interest in the style to which she's accustomed, and upon her passing, the remainderment will go to the children. But sometimes the second wife says, I think my children should inherit something. You need to talk about that beforehand, particularly because the children will argue among themselves, and you don't want that. Okay.
So all of this, good to know, good to get out there before you do any of this. Avoid the fights down the line.
Absolutely.
So tell us how people can get in touch with you if they're interested.
I'm easily reached at 203-281-1112 at Wells Fargo Advisors in Hampton, and you can also find me online. If you Google Faye Shepard, I come up.
Great. Thank you so much, Faye.
Thank you.